Day 1. The first day of the Satipatthana course is over. The technique and your practice remain the same. It is, however, a special course in the sense that you will try to understand the words of the Buddha with reference to the technique. All the teachings, all the discourses of the Buddha are so enlightening, full of wisdom, so precious, just like portions of a big sweet cake. Every one of them gives the same taste of nectar, ambrosia. The Mahasatipatthana Sutta, however, is chosen because it deals with this technique in detail. It is better for serious old students to hear the actual words of the Buddha to understand both practice and theory more clearly in more detail and to come out of any confusion. A few enthusiastic students, unfortunately, started teaching without proper training or grounding in the technique and mixed other things with it. In India, they attended just a few courses. They mostly had great attachment to their own sectarian philosophical beliefs and no technique of their own. With only superficial knowledge of Vipassana, they were unable to teach it properly. Vipassana students who attended their courses got very confused. Similarly, in the West, people have started teaching with a base of this technique, but differently. Just to differentiate, they claim to teach Satipatthana and say that what Goenka teaches is Vipassana. This caused great confusion. Satipatthana is Vipassana. Vipassana is Satipatthana. The direct words of the Buddha will clarify this. This will give inspiration and guidance and the understanding of Dhamma at a deeper level. Therefore, the technique remains the same, but the evening discourses will cover this very important Satipatthana Sutta in detail. Initially, Pali, the ancient language spoken by the Buddha, will seem very new to you. Slowly, you will start understanding the words. Later, you will be able to develop a working knowledge of the language. Then it becomes so inspiring. If you are a good Vipassana meditator, you will feel as if the words are for you, that the Buddha himself is directing your practice. At the beginning stage, understand just a few words which will be helpful. The 3 steps. There are 3 steps or important steps of Dhamma. The first is Priyati, sufficient intellectual knowledge of the teaching. Those who have not even heard or read the words of the enlightened person cannot understand Dhamma and its universal nature. They will understand Dhamma only as Buddhist religion. They will take it as a sectarian philosophical belief or a rite, ritual, or religious ceremony, such as they themselves remain involved in. A Sutta is one who has heard and will understand Dhamma as universal law, truth, nature, not limited to any sect or community. Having heard a Sutta can practice and apply it in life, and so is a fortunate person compared to an Asutta who has heard nothing about universal truth and remains confused. Hearing or reading words of pure Dhamma is very good to give inspiration and guidance to start practicing. However, if you remain satisfied just with that and do not practice because now you feel you know everything at the intellectual level, then it becomes just a devotional game. Actually, you don't know because direct experience is missing. You have just accepted the truth without practicing, which may even become a hindrance to liberation. Therefore, every sutta must start practicing. Patipatti, the next step, is practicing Dhamma. In another discourse, the Buddha said, Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sango. Savaka means Sutva. Savaka Sango means the Sangha which is Savaka, which has heard the teaching of the Buddha and started walking on the path properly. That is Supatipanno, well practiced. Walking on the path, they will reach the final destination of full liberation. Patipatti will do this, not Pariyatti alone. With Pariyatti, you start understanding that as a human being, as a social being, you must live a life of morality in your family and in society. If you disturb the peace and harmony of others, how can you experience peace and harmony? So you abstain from any physical or vocal action which hurts and harms other beings. You abstain from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, harsh words, backbiting, or useless, meaningless words which waste your time and that of others, and from taking any kind of intoxicant. You also understand that by abstaining from unwholesome actions, you are actually obliging yourself, not only others. Such unwholesome actions cannot be performed unless you generate great impurity in the mind like craving, greed, aversion, ego, and fear. When you do that, you harm yourself. For this reason, you understand the importance of Sila, which means morality. However, even with your intellectual understanding, maintaining Sila becomes difficult without control over the mind. Therefore, you must practice Samadhi, that is, mastery of the mind. In certain circumstances, such as the environment of a Vipassana course, it is easy not to break your Sila, but walking on the path, you have to develop this mastery. You start becoming Supatipanno. Now you are practicing using Anapana, awareness of your respiration, which is Patipatti. As you proceed on the path properly, as an enlightened person intends you to, you have to control the mind in a proper way, or this control will not take you to the third step of Pativedhan. Literally, this means piercing, penetrating. Your samadhi concentrates the mind on the reality pertaining to yourself, your own mind master phenomena. Because respiration is related to both mind and matter. However, as you proceed, you will notice a great stock of accumulated impurities inside. Although you try to control your physical and vocal actions, yet you get overwhelmed by them from time to time. Therefore, you have to reach that depth of truth which will take these impurities out. Pannati is apparent truth. It seems to be, it appears to be so. To witness ultimate truth, you have to remove this curtain of apparent truth, pierce, penetrate, and cut it asunder. This is Vipassana. In another text, it was said, Pannati thapetva visheshna pasati vipassana. Pannati thapetva means having removed the apparent truth. Then Vipassana sees pasati things by their characteristic visheshana. By piercing, penetrating the apparent, solidified, intensified truth which has to be dissected, disintegrated, dissolved, you move towards the ultimate truth of what is called I, mine, the material structure. the mental structure, and the mental contents. Then, piercing the entire field of mind and matter, you can witness something beyond the ultimate truth of Nibbana, which is eternal, beyond the entire field of mind and matter. This practice of piercing wisdom, Pativedana, which is Vipassana, leads to the final goal of full liberation. Therefore, understand that the purpose of hearing this sutta during the course is not merely for pariyatti. However helpful this theoretical knowledge might be, all three steps of pariyatti, patipatti, and pativedana have to be taken. These three cover the entire universe of panna, that is wisdom. In 10-day courses, you have heard about the 3 stages of panna. Sutta Maya panna is what you have heard. It is someone else's wisdom, not yours. Chintamaya panna is your intellectual reasoning, your understanding of someone else's wisdom. Both are good, but only if you take the 3rd step of Bhavnamaya panna to witness the truth yourself. Repeated witnessing develops your wisdom, and it is this direct experience that takes you to the final goal. Different words for this threefold distinction are used in another Indian tradition. First is Sada Saka, truth of the word. Fanatics think that the truth of the scriptures must be accepted even without understanding it. When witnessed, experienced, it may be true, but they have merely heard and developed attachment. It is not truth for them. Next is Anuman Saka, intellectual understanding by inference. From smoke, you infer fire. You have not seen the fire. Both of these can be illusionary, delusionary. Third is the truth you directly witness yourself. Pakaha, Saka. The entire teaching of an enlightened person is to inspire you to do this. Belief in the Buddha's words is essential. But unless you yourself witness the truth, you can never become enlightened. To listen and understand intellectually is very helpful, but at the same time, every teaching has to be witnessed by those who aspire to get liberated. That is what is taught in the Satipatthana Sutta, and its every word should inspire and guide you. Sati means awareness, the witnessing of every reality pertaining to mind and matter within the framework of the body. Only with proper understanding and wisdom does it become Satipatthana. Than means getting established. Pathan means getting established in a proper way, which is in different ways, or pakarna. Pakarna Janati Panna. Panna wisdom. Janati understands reality from different angles. Witnessing from only one angle is partial, distorted truth. You have to try to witness the totality, which is done by observing from different angles. Then it is Pakirna and it becomes Panna. Thus, Sati becomes Pathan when it is joined with Panna. Whenever the Buddha uses the word Sati or Satto, he also uses Sampajanno, as in the Sutta. Atapi Sampanno Satima. Atapi means ardently. However, Sati is perfect only with wisdom. Sampanno with the understanding of the nature of reality at the experiential level, that is, its basic characteristics of anicca, arising in passing. because its nature is to be impermanent. The characteristic of dukkha, misery or suffering, is also inherent. Practicing with panna, you will understand dukkha with your own experience. Every pleasant experience, every pleasant situation is anicca. Everything within the framework of the body changes into something unpleasant, so it is nothing but dukkha. The law of nature is such, yet the tendency of the mind is to get attached and cling to a pleasant experience. And when it is gone, you feel so miserable. That is not a philosophy but the truth to be experienced by Pativedana. Dividing, dissecting, disintegrating, dissolving, you reach the stage of bhanga, total dissolution. You witness the solidified material structure, the body as actually nothing but subatomic particles, kalpas, arising in passing. Similarly, the mind and mental contents manifest as very solidified, intensified emotions, anger, fear, or passion, which overpower you. Vipassana, Pativedana helps you with piercing, penetrating. Panna you divide, dissect, disintegrate to the stage where this intense emotion is nothing but wavelets. The whole material and mental structures and the mental contents are nothing but wavelets, wavelets, aneka, aneka. Then the reality about this I or mine or myself becomes clear. They are just conventional words. There is no I to possess this mind matter structure. These material and mental phenomena, mere mind and matter, constantly interact, constantly influence each other, and become a cause for the arising of each other, resulting in currents, cross currents, and undercurrents going on in what you call I, anatta, becomes clear at the experiential level. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, that is, impermanence, misery, and egolessness, should not just be taken as a sectarian philosophy. They don't apply just to Buddhists. Everyone, man or woman, of any color or religion, is merely a constant interaction of mind and matter. Out of ignorance, enormous attachment develops to this false ego, this I, which brings nothing but misery. The law of nature becomes so clear with Pativedana, with piercing, penetrating panna. Without this, mere awareness will not help because you will always remain with the apparent truth and you won't understand the real ultimate truth. A circus girl on a tight rope is very aware of every step she takes. Her life and parts of her body are in danger. Still, she is far from liberation because she is only with the apparent truth, not with panna inside. The sati is not perfect because it has to be established with the wisdom of anicca, dukkha, anatta at the experiential level. Satipatthana is sati with panna. Then it plays a very important part in the practice of Dhamma, of witnessing the truth. The Satipatthana discourse is for this purpose. In the ordinary 10-day discourses, you hear of 5 friends: Saddha, faith; Virya, effort; Sati, awareness; Samadhi, concentration; and Panna, wisdom. They were called Indriyas by the Buddha. Indra means ruler or king. It is the name of the king of the celestial world. The sense doors are one type of indriya, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and body. They are called this because they keep mastering and overpowering us. The five friends or faculties which we master are another type, and sati is one of these. These indriyas were also called forces or strengths, bal. For every meditator, these five are very important strengths, and sati is among them. It is so important. Sati is also a very important factor of enlightenment. With every one of these seven factors of enlightenment, you start with awareness, and you are aware of it till you reach the final goal. However, sati is important and fruitful only if used properly, as explained by the Buddha in the teachings of the Satipatthana Sutta. Pariyatti, theoretical knowledge. Tomorrow we will start reading this sutta. The background given today is to help you understand that practice is most important. There is a great danger that just reading or hearing suttas or discourses may become a life aim. Great care should be taken that the purpose of a Vipassana center remains Patipatti and Pati Vedana, the wisdom that is developed and multiplied by experience little by little, step by step, as you divide, dissect, disintegrate, dissolve, and piercingly, penetratingly move from the apparent truth towards the ultimate truth. One reason out of many why Vipassana got lost in India after the time of the Buddha was because theory and suttas alone were given importance. People felt satisfied just reciting a discourse or memorizing the entire Tipitaka, the teachings of the Buddha, as if the purpose of their life was fulfilled. Then came discussions, debates, arguments about the meaning of the words. Confusions prevailed, and without practice, there was no understanding. The words of an enlightened person are words of experience to guide the people to witness the truth. Playing games with them create a great hindrance. Therefore, we use the Buddha's words to understand how he wanted us to practice. They give inspiration and guidance, but the actual practice remains predominant. Of course, we are not denouncing pariyatti. How can one who is practicing what the Buddha taught be against the words of the Buddha? However, the practice, not the words, should remain the main aim of our life. We are very thankful to the Sangha who maintain the purity of the words of the Buddha and those among them who maintained the practice of Vipassana, otherwise it would have been lost long ago. Because of this tradition of ours, we received the practice in its pristine purity and we are deeply grateful. Similarly, we have great gratitude to those who, whether or not they practice, at least maintain the words of the Buddha from teacher to pupil for 25 centuries. Now, so many queries arise about the Buddha's teaching. Is this the Buddha's teaching or not? Proof is possible only because of those in the Sangha of this school who felt responsible for keeping the Buddha's words intact. Dhamma Bandhagarikas, treasures of the Dhamma, that is, of the words of the Buddha. As a result, we can compare the words with the results from the practice of the technique. Therefore, let both pariyatti and patipatti be joined together. Pariyatti gives us confidence that our practice is as the Buddha wanted in the proper way. Now this Satipatthana Sutta will be studied. If someone wants to study the entire Tipitaka, it is wonderful. Every word is nectar, gives personal guidance, and is so clear and inspiring. However, this is not necessary. Proper understanding of a few suttas is good enough. The Buddha said that even one ghata or verse of two lines, if understood properly, is good enough for the final goal. A literal meaning of pariyati or pariyapti in Sanskrit and Hindi is sufficient. For some, a larger number of discourses is sufficient. The words of the Buddha that you get in the evening discourses on a course are pariyatti. You understand how to practice properly and why in this way, and you develop confidence in the steps you are taking. A few suttas, discourses, can be discussed in the evening discourses at centers for understanding, but that should not be the main aim, otherwise, they will just become pariyatti centers for teaching the Tipitaka, for discussion, recitation, and debate, and also for emotional, devotional, and intellectual games. This is therefore a warning to those who manage such centers around the world, now and for centuries in the future. It is essential that the teaching and practice of Vipassana always remains the main activity, because the final goal will be reached only when you take steps on the path. Therefore, from tomorrow evening, we will recite the sutta to understand Patipatti and Pativedana, the practical aspect, properly. We are on the right path, a path without diversion or deviation, a straight path to the final goal, without wasting time here and there on side issues. The practice remains the same. Now you are practicing Anapana, observing the truth of the breath. This is Sati. Breath is the nature of a living being, not merely because a book or your teacher or the Buddha says so. You are witnessing it coming in, going out as it is. It is not a breathing exercise. You do not regulate it but just observe. Naturally, your mind starts getting concentrated. The breath becomes finer, shorter. Then it just makes a U turn as it comes in and goes out, and at times it seems to stop. Again, a big breath comes out of hunger for oxygen, and you are just aware. Again, it becomes short, makes a U turn, stops. You do nothing. Whether it is a long breath or a short breath, you are just aware. Of course, at times when you cannot feel the subtle breath, you may have a few intentional, conscious breaths just to feel the natural breath again. This course is only 8 days long, so time is short. Use it most seriously. You have a wonderful advantage here in that new students who often don't understand the value of discipline and silence, and who in their confusion disturb others, are not allowed on the course. As mature old students of at least a few courses, you understand the work, and you understand that continuity of practice is the secret of success. If you keep stopping your work out of laziness, wandering, roaming about, or lying down and sleeping, you cannot reach the goal. Of course, your mind will wander away, but you bring it back. Your effort must be continuous. Even the so called recess periods, including the night time, are for serious work, for meditation, for awareness. Sati must get established Satipatthana. Now with Anapana, you are aware of respiration, sitting, standing, walking, lying down, bathing, washing, eating, drinking, day and night, except only the period of deep sleep. You are aware of natural breath. The Sati gets Patthana, awareness will be established. Then in Vipassana, the awareness, day and night, is of arising and passing, anika. All the rules are so important. A course like this without new students and with minimum disturbance, where everybody is so serious, is very rare. Make best use of this opportunity, this facility to get your awareness established with wisdom, to come nearer and nearer to the final goal. Make best use of this wonderful technique. Make best use of Dhamma for your own good, benefit, and liberation from the bondages, shackles, and chains of craving, aversion, and ignorance. May you all enjoy real peace, harmony, and happiness. May all beings be happy.